Hello, welcome back to episode 2 of making server lists with different places. Or you could say it's like a Deepwoken server list. I mean, it is inspired by Deepwoken after all. So this is the current concept from the previous video, right? There's two servers. You send server information to memory store, and the main menu server it fetches server info every interval. And then it sends the information to the client every time there's a change. Okay, I don't think this is I don't think this is good design. Why is that? So let's say your client fails to load the server, or your client somehow does not receive the server, and then what? And then it's gonna wait until the server changes so you could get the server information. That's bad design. The client should have to receive the server every time it needs it. So here's my new design. Okay, same thing here, but this time the client gets the server information whenever it needs to. So let's say you want to make a refresh button. Back then you wouldn't be able to because you rely on the server sending information, but this time you get the information. You request the server for information. Just refresh, you request the information, you can get it whatever you want. So it's a lot more flexible there. I want to add in a lot of features in this video. First of all, I want to add in like server age. That's the simplest one. And then I want to add a search bar, and I want to add in friends. And yeah, that's gonna be the feature. So first, let's go to the game, that sends information. So here, standard mode, it's the same, right? Region, NA, we fetch the region, it's the same thing. But this time, there's server age and player IDs. So what's that? What's player IDs? Player IDs are all the IDs that are in the game. So we can't do game.players because you can't save instances in memory store. You can only save strings, basic data like that, and the server age. Okay. So here, it's the same. If the server isn't a VIP server, then it just sends the information right away whenever the server is initialized. And instead of current player, it just uses game.players.getPlayers. Game.players get players, okay? And then here's something different. Instead of updating the server every time a player has joined and it reaches the player threshold whenever the player leaves or the player gets added, this time it just updates the server information, and then it adds the player ID to the server information player IDs. This one, okay? Same thing here, okay? This is the same, and here is the new code. This time it updates the server every interval. This time this is 1 minute, but I recommend you doing 5 minutes, which is 300 seconds. I think it's 300. Yeah, it's 300 seconds. But for this video, I'll do 60 seconds. Okay. So this is for the server age. So there's this thing called distributed game time, which is the amount of seconds the server is on. You can do some math to get the days, the hours, and minutes. I copied some guy's code from dev forum, and yeah, you can just copy this code. I don't think I can explain it very well. It's just the amount of seconds a day has, the amount of seconds, and then you get the remaining seconds, and then you get the minutes. Yeah, something like that. Okay, and then this is some debugging. You don't need to add the prints. So we add the server age, days concatenate with D. So it's like if it's 1, then it's 1D, hours concatenate with H, minutes concatenate with M, and then you set a sync. It's the same thing, but except we use intervals. Okay, now let's get into the main menu. This is for the server. Print table, that's the same. Deep equal, it's the same. Here is the different part. Server change. We're not going to be using a remote event anymore. We're going to be using a remote function. So create a remote function in replicated storage. Name it server fetch. So what's a remote function? A remote function is when a client sends a remote function, fires a remote function to the server fires a function that is assigned with a remote function, and it returns a value. So the client will wait until the server returns a value. Okay, so here's get all servers. It's the same except I added a dummy server. So what this does is it creates a fake server. You can't join it, but I'm just using it to test the friends feature where you can see the friends and stuff. And then other than that, it's the same. So here we, instead of fire all clients, we remove that. Check for changes is the same, but we don't fire all clients. Okay, and here we have server fetch dot on server invoke. Okay, we set it to a function, and then the parameter has player. That's a default parameter. We return the servers. It's a simple function, and then every 10 seconds we check for the changes. So I'm gonna make it so it checks every 30 seconds or something. 50 seconds, 30 seconds. Let's go for 30. So now I'm gonna show you the main menu, the new update. Okay, so here I'll show you the GUIs. All right, so here we can go to start the GUI, and then there's the new stuff. There's just the new stuff. Okay, search box. It's just a text box. Okay, you can add this easily. And then we have regions. It's the same. And then scrolling frame. It's the same. Okay, so here, this is the new change. We added UI list layout instead of cloning this. Let's remove this. We don't need to clone this anymore, because back then we would remove every single value in the server list, and that would be jarring. Okay, it would look like the servers disappear and then gets re-added. I don't like that. I want to make it update in real time, so if there's a change, it just updates smoothly. No more jarring changes, like no more that, none of that. So in the UI list layout, there's this thing. It's called, there's sort by name. Okay, sort order name. This is gonna be really useful because I'm gonna set the name to numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, so we can easily rearrange it. So whenever a friend is in the server, we set the name of the server to 1. Very simple. So now this is the new thing. Okay, we add in server component. We'll duplicate this and we'll show you. I'll show you. Put this in scrolling frame. Okay, let's enable this. Boom. Okay, it doesn't look like anything's changed, but if you can look, there's friends and friend name. Okay, friends. You can put in a friend right here and see. Oops, gonna make this visible. Let's just duplicate this. So what the friend is just an image label with a UI aspect ratio corner constraint and a UI corner, so it's rounded, as you can see. Let's put this in friends. And friends, oops, that's visible. There you go, it's a circle. See, it's a circle. And in friends we have UI list layout, it's horizontal. And we have UI padding, just 05, 05, 05, like that. And the friend's name is set to visible, shows the friend's name, see? And here's the position. Let's remove this. Okay, so this is the script. First we have server fetch. We don't need server change anymore. This is the remote function, as I've explained before. And then we get the player and the player ID. Why do we do that? So we can get the friends of the player. Now here are the friends. I added dummy values. So this is the pattern. A friend object will have an ID and a username and more. But I'll just add ID and username. So this is my friends, quote unquote friends. They're not actually my friends list. This is myself. So I'm using it as a dummy value, like the fake server. This is fake friends. I have 2 of these guys. These are fake. So I'll just remove one of them right here because there we go. I'll add them back later. So you don't need this. You might need this only for testing. GUIs, okay? We got the GUI, scrolling frame, regions, and search box. The template, UI list layout, we don't need it anymore. Okay? Server component and friend label. So friend label is just a text label. And then we have the filter region and search, the current search. And then we have the servers and filtered servers as usual. So first, we don't need this anymore. We don't need on client event, because now we're the one fetching for the server. So what we do is we fetch the server like this, okay? Invoke server. So we fetch every 60 seconds. We print the data even though we don't need the data, okay? You don't need this prints. You only need it for debugging. So we have moved index. What do they do? So when you move a friend, you want to move the friend to the lowest number, 1, which is 1. And then let's say there's another friend in a different server. You can't move them to 1 because there's already your friend in the server 1, okay? So what do? You increment the moved index. So because there's already a friend in the first server, the friend will be moved to the second position of the servers. So we loop through the server here in data. So we add in a new value, friends and friends names. So what's friends? Friends is the friend object, which is ID and username and more. And friends names, it just consists of the names. We'll need that later. So we loop through the friends in our friends variable. I'll show you how they work, but for now I'll show you how to receive the server. So we loop through the friends. We check if the server player IDs has the friend ID, because the friend consists of username, ID, and more. We found the friend. We add the friend in friends in server.friends, and we add the friend.username in server.friends names. Okay, and if the server friends is bigger than 0, we sort the server. We sort the server to the lowest index, which is moved index, and then we increment the moved index. We don't need an else. This is just for debugging. Okay, so now I'll show you what item move and what friends are. So here, as you can see, this is the dummy value, but how do we get the friends? So this is how you get the friends. We do a while through do loop. So we loop through the friends page, which is here. We get friends async using the player ID. We get all the friends. So what's a friends page? So instead of Roblox returning the friends as a table, it returns it as a book, like a book, okay? Because I don't know why, but maybe it's because the values are huge. So what a book is that it's essentially like a book. The book has pages, and you can get the values of each page. But to get to the next page, you need to call a method to get to the next page. So here we loop through the current page, get current page, and then table dot insert the friends. We insert the friend into the friends table, which is here, okay, with the dummy values. And if the book is finished, if we went through all the pages, then we break the loop. And if it's not, then we advance to the next page. We open the next page. It's like a book, okay? It's pretty simple. And then what's item move? Item move is needed so to sort the table. So here we have a table. This is just for typing. You don't need this, but I used it. But in the code that I found in dev forum, it uses this so that you can easily, so that Roblox can do auto typing. Because when Roblox doesn't know what these are, there's no auto typing. But when you add in the types, there's auto typing, which is pretty useful. So here we have table, item, the item that you want to move, and the new position as the parameters. So here we remove the item that you want to move, and then we reinsert them in the new position. Just remove them and reinsert them. Pretty simple, right? So yeah. And then what's next? We remove the item, and then we filter the servers and update the GUI. So filter servers has a new change. But for now, let's go over the search box because we need to, okay? So region buttons, nothing changes. Search box, pretty simple. Search box, get property change signal. So whenever the text changes in the search box, it fires this function. We set the search, our variable, which is an empty string, to the search box.text. Okay, and then we filter the servers and update the UI. Simple. And now we'll look at filter servers. And filter servers, this is new, okay? Instead of just checking if filter servers is any, then it's gonna return n. No. It's different. If it's any, then it's gonna look through all the servers, and then we find a match in the search box. So there's this thing called string.find. It's good for a search bar, a search box. It finds the string in the second parameter. It checks if the string in the second parameter exists in the first string. If there's a match, it just checks if there's a match. If the string is empty, if the second parameter is empty, then it's always a match. Then anything is matched. Okay, so if the string is empty, then there's no filter automatically. So we use string.lower both because this is type sensitive, so we have to automatically make both of them have no capitalized letters. And then we check if the server region isn't any, by the way, not any, my bad. If the filter region isn't any, which is literally anything else like Oregon, Singapore, California, like that. If it's the filter region and there's a match, then we table.insert. So if it's any right here, we don't need to check for the region, it's the same thing, but we check if there's a match in the search box, and then we insert it in the filter service. Pretty simple. Now the last thing to check is the update UI. There's a lot of new changes. So the first change is there's no clear all children and UI list layout parent. None of them anymore. Because, so here, my new method is if there's a change, right? If the amount of servers are the same, but the information is different, all you need to do is just change the text and change some variables, and that's all. You don't need to remove the GUI. And if there's a new server, we add the new GUI, and if there's less servers, then we remove some GUIs. So how do we do that? So we add amount servers. So we get the scrolling frame get children, we get all the children, right? But we do -1 since there's a scrolling frame, and that's not a server, right? And we check if amount of servers is bigger than the filter servers, which means if the current servers is bigger than the new server information that we receive, then we'll have to remove some of the servers, right? So in here, in this search, we add a for loop, okay? The amount of servers is bigger than the filter servers, right? The filter servers amount. So let's say the new filter servers is 10 and the amount of servers is 12. So that means we loop through from the start from 10 to 12. So it's 11 and 12. Basically we're looping through all the servers that are not in the current server information, and then we remove them. So here we find the server by scrolling frame find first child to string the I, because we're gonna set the name of the servers to the index +1, because the first server will always be 2, because the to string I +1 to compensate for the UI list layout. And if the server exists, then we destroy the server. Simple stuff. It's working right now. I don't know, there's no bugs that I found yet. Okay, so this is we loop through the filter servers, right? Same, we get all the information, region, server ID. Now you don't need to clear all children because the frame automatically sorts itself by the name instead of the order. So the existing server, we find first child to string I, okay? And if there's an existing server, then the server frame is the existing server. If there's not, then we clone a new server. And then we get the friends, server frame.friends, and server frame.friend name, which is the friends is the box that shows you the circles for the friends, and the friend's name is the selector, the black text that shows you which friend you're hovering to, and then the hovering to variable, what friend you're hovering to, okay, and then the default color, which is the same as the previous video. So this, we don't need to clone this anymore since we already did that. So let's remove it. It's from the previous video. And now we just set the values, okay? Server frame.name, we set it to the index, toString index. We set it to visible, we set the parent. Now this is the same, we just set the time, server name, player count, region, and all that. This is the same. Mouse leave, mouse activated, all the same, okay? Actually, there might be some problems. Maybe we need to disconnect all the events. I think we need to disconnect all the events. Because if there's a change, we might get teleported to the wrong server. Okay, so I think we need to disconnect all the events first. Okay, so I have an idea. We make a connections table, right? And so we do this. Connections I equals mouse enter equals nil, mouse leave equals nil, activated equals nil. So we have the connections, right? So here, if the server is the same, let me do this. If connections I, then for connection do in pairs, connections I do. If connection is a RBX script connection, then connection disconnect. So that's that. We do this, connections I dot mouse enter, connections I dot mouse leave. So just to be safe, we disconnect the connections, okay? Activated. This is some last minute change stuff. It's the same, this is the same. So here, we loop through the friends. What's the friends? Friends is the frame that contains all the friends, the circles. So we loop through the friends. We check if the image label is an image label. If it's not, then it's going to continue with the loop. Now we check if the image label's name is inside of the friend's name table. If it's not, then we're going to destroy it. So I made it sure that the image label's name is the friend's username. So we loop through the index, we loop through the friends, the server.friends. We check if the friend already exists in the frame. If it is, then it's going to continue end, because we don't need to remake them. And here we get the thumbnail of the friend, the profile picture. What's this? Is an error? Oh, here, I forgot to end this. Then we disconnect. I don't think this, I don't know, just to be sure, just to be safe. Forgot to disconnect that. So yeah, back on track. We get the profile of the friend. Use the friend ID, the thumb type, which is a headshot. We get the head of the friend. Then we get the size of the picture, right? So we clone the friend label, which is an image label. If it's not, which is the friend label is in the template. Okay, the friend. If it isn't already exist, if it's not already exist. Okay, so we set the name, the image, to the content. Set visible to true, set parent, yada. Okay, so when we hover it, we set hovering to the friend username. It's a variable, and we set the text of the bar to the friend's username, and then we set the position to the image's position, near the image's position. So how does this make sense? So here in the friend name, this is the position. As you can see, it's 0.217, right? If the position changes, then it's gonna be slightly towards the right. So we basically increment this with 0.009 times the index. So that's why we reduced it with 0.009 first, because I already tested right here. And now when we set the friend's name, see, like that. And when we go to the second image, we add a plus 0.009. So here, plus 0.009 right there, plus 0.009. Yeah. And if there's another friend, we also add another 0.009. Plus 0.009. So it just changes the position. You can adjust the position if you want to. So that's the logic behind it. I don't think this is precise enough. So yeah, do whatever you want. Change the position to whatever you want. But that's the gist of it. I think that's all. And then let's test it out. Oh yeah, and when the mouse leaves from when the mouse isn't hovering the image label anymore, we check if hovering to is the friend's username that we are leaving the hover. So why we do this? Here, let's say the cursor is right here, right? And then it's actually accidentally hovering over two images. And then if we go back, I don't want it to count. I don't want the friend text to remove. So that's the logic behind it. I don't know if you understand or not. So if it's hovering over here, and then it hovers onto two frames, and we leave that accidental hover to the current frame, I don't want the text to be removed. So we just check if we're leaving the right friend. And I think that's all. I've explained everything, I think. I've explained this, that. We sort, yeah. If you don't understand, then you can rewind the video if you want to. So, okay, let's play. First, I'm not gonna fetch the regions, so since I don't want to accidentally dox myself. So here, we set the server info. Oh yeah, by the way, we're not using get current players anymore. We're using game.players get players, so it automatically updates. So it automatically gets the current player count. Hold on. We're not gonna do is a, so let's just do connection. Right there. Like that. Okay, so I think everything should work. As you can see, right here, we can search dummy server, see? Courageous, see, like that. It's 1 minute. Okay, for some reason, the player IDs are not saving. For some reason, the player ID isn't working here. I have no idea why. Okay, so I figured out why this isn't working. Because we're in studio, I'm the first player to join, and because of this is actually delaying the script. So that's why I have to put in test.spawn so that player added actually runs in a different thread. This actually has a delay. This actually takes some time to run. So that's why, let's cut this. Okay. We put this in a task.spawn function, so let's do this here. We set the code right here. To be honest, we don't need this. Okay, we don't need this. Okay, we just need the while true do. Okay, so I think this should be working fine and dandy now. Okay, so don't forget that to comment this out. Hold on, here. So right before when the filter region is any, it won't filter the servers, but now you filter the server, just comment this out because I didn't know what I was thinking back then. Okay, just filter this out if you have this code. Now I think this all should work fine. As you can see, this is my main account, Sushi Master, right here, and this is my alt right here. This is me, Sushi Master, and by the way, the friend will only show up. This will only show up after the server updates, after an interval. In my case, it's 1 minute. In your case, it may be 5 minutes, because when a player joins, the information updates, but it won't upload to the memory store immediately. It'll wait 5 minutes. It'll wait the interval. Okay, I think that's all for this video. It all works fine. Singapore, it doesn't work any. It works. Gentle dummy, it works. Thank you so much for watching. If there's any bugs, tell me. DM me in Discord, ping me or whatever. Tell me in the comments, and peace out.